Hello Live Wires, Heather Boyd Wire here, and today it's Tip Tuesday. Today I had a special request from Allison to make baseball pendants. You will need flush cutters, flat pliers, round pliers, and I have the Beadle-On bail making pliers. I'm using 18 gauge silver wire and 22 and 24 gauge red wire. Start with about 4 to 5 inches of 18 gauge wire, and we're going to turn the wire around the end of a pill bottle. So we're just going to bring it all the way around to make a complete circle, and then we're going to take our round pliers or bail making pliers and just make a little loop at the top. From there we will clip it with the flush cutters, and we'll remove that little end and press it down with our flat pliers. We don't want any little pokey ends. And now on the other side, we're going to do a loop right underneath that first loop. So just bring it right around into a closed loop, push over that end, and then clip it flush. Those are the Xuron flush cutters. And now we're going to press the end in. So one loop is going to sit directly on top of the other loop. This is a nice way to finish it in a clean manner, but you need to make sure the loops are stacked. So now we're taking 12 inches of 22 gauge artistic wire in the red color. And this was my initial idea, to do a very stylized stitching by bending the wires back and forth. It almost looks like a series of arrows, and you'll just try to make them as small as you can. Luckily, the tweezer nose pliers are quite fine, so it works well. You could try it with round nose pliers, but you won't get the really clean bends. This is a good method to do for a larger baseball, but the stitching ends up being a little bit large for the size of pendant that I made. So stay tuned till the end of the video, because I have another method that worked a little better than this. But this is one option for the stitching. It looks pretty legit, looks like stitching. So now I just slid the end through the two loops. This will help hold them together. So we're putting the end of the wire through those two loops to keep them stacked up. Pinch in the wires with the tweezer nose pliers to make it nice and tight. So I ended up going through the loop about 3 times, and then we're going to clip the end flush. So now we're going to position the wire on the other side and wind the end around a couple of times to hold it in place. So there we have it in the right position. It's curved around to follow the curve of the ball. So that's our first set of stitching, and then I made another set to go in the opposite side. So we'll position that as we like, curving down the other way. This gives the ball an illusion of three-dimensionality. So we're just going to bring the end around, grabbing it with the tweezer nose pliers. You could go around 2 or 3 times. If you go 3 times, it will be a little bit more stable. So we're just going to go around 3 times this time. Squeeze those wires together, flip it around, and do the same on the other side. So just pull that wire around, giving it a good little tug so it's nice and firmly in place. Clip the ends with the flush cutters, and then from there we're going to make sure it's in the right position and pinch the ends in place. So here you see the baseball done with that method, and then I did another one just by making a coil, which is simpler to do. For the last one, I have 5 to 6 inches of 18 gauge artistic wire, and we're going to do the ball in a slightly different manner. So we bent the wire up at a right angle, and I'm going to take the pill bottle and bring the wire all the way around. Just bring it to the back, make sure it's a nice circle, and then twist the end around the vertical wire to secure it in place. So now we'll cut the end with the flush cutters, and we are going to pinch it down so there's no little pokey end. And from there I will cut the other end to about 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to grab that end with the bail making pliers, hold the end of the wire, bring it out and around to make a closed loop at the top. Now I'm taking 4 inches of 22 gauge red wire and 12 to 15 inches of the 24 gauge red wire, and we are going to wind the longer piece around the shorter piece one time. Now we'll take about 4 inches of 16 gauge wire and hold it underneath the red wire and just bring the wire around. We're not going to fully turn it around that wire, but we will wind it around one full time around the red wire. Get another piece of the 16 gauge wire, hold it above the red wire, and we're just going to bring the wire down. We're not surrounding the 16 gauge wire, we're just holding it in place, and we're doing a full turn around the red wire. So we're just going around the 16 gauge wire, but not completely around. We're doing a full turn around the red wire, bringing the wire up and straight down. And now we're going to wind it around the red wire in the middle. It's a pseudo kind of weave. It's a very basic weave. Then bring the wire up. So we're going to surround the middle wire, bring the wire up, and then straight down. So now we're going to make about 1 inch of that weaving. We're going to remove those silver wires. We don't need them. They're just to hold the wires in place. And then from there, we're going to clip the ends flush with the Xuron micro shear flush cutters. So there's about 1 inch of weaving, and we'll pinch in those little pokey ends on either side. Just push the wires with the flat pliers, and now we're going to position it just to the right of the loop on the ball. So just bring the wire around a couple of times. You could go around 2 or 3 times, as much as you like. And then we're going to clip the end with the flush cutters again at the back. So just give it a little snip. And now we want to curve that stitching around and secure it on the other side. So just hold it firmly in place. Give it a little tug as you go. Check the position. And then we're going to clip that end flush. So do the same, make another 1 inch of that weaving, curve it around, and then we want to position it in place. Don't worry too much if they're exactly the same. If you want, you can count the number of weaves you do to make sure they're exactly the same. Otherwise, if you measure them to be about 1 inch each, it should work. So we're going to wind that end in place, squeeze the wires together. If you need to, grab that end and give it a good little tug, push it to the back, and then clip it with the flush cutters. And then we just have one more end to secure in place. Don't worry about the position, you can fix that at the end. And we're going to secure that in place by winding the wire around 2 or 3 times. And clip it at the back and pinch it in with the tweezer nose pliers. Make sure it's securely in place. You can wind it a bit to tighten it. Just hold and rotate. Do any little last minute adjustments that you need so the spacing is good, the position is good. And just use the flat pliers to pinch it in to hold it in place. So I did the weave on the right, but you could also wind the wire around the silver wire to make a double weave on the left. And here's our finished baseball pendant. So thanks so much for watching the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more wire art and jewelry making videos. And if you'd like to share photos of your wire art and jewelry, be sure to join the Wire Makers Club on Facebook. And if you'd like to check out my work on Etsy, my husband and I specialize in custom wedding cake toppers and funky jewelry. I also have a mailing list, so if you'd like to sign up below, I'll send you my Wire Art Essentials ebook. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you the next time.